For those of you that are logged on the webcast, live webcast, we'll be getting started here pretty soon. We're waiting on animals and exhibitors. So just bear with us if you're watching online. We'll get started as soon as we can. Kendall, we're going to do pledge, the national anthem, then I'll give it to him, and then you guys are on.
Am I hot?
All right.
Kenton, are more heifers coming? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Thank you. We're just going to wait just a few minutes, get all the heifers here, and then we'll get the program started. Parents, please know that I will provide all of the pictures that Beverly takes today. So you're welcome to take pictures in the ring, however you so choose. When we do go to the backdrop, please do not take or come to the backdrop to take pictures. I'd rather you be in the picture with your child and the heifer. And then just know I'm going to provide you with all the pictures that Beverly takes. And that way we've got the calf and the kid and everybody looking at one camera. So that's how we're going to run pictures today.
And you're out on the webcast too, just so you know.
I'm what?
You're on the webcast for the audio too. So you can say hi to everybody.
What about?
Just so the parents know that are with the exhibitors, parents side for the show ring, in order to follow the COVID rules, you need to be on my left. So to your right, you guys need to be outside.
After.
Social distancing when we get ready to go here. It's after they're ready to go in the ring. I mean, you're okay right now, but when we get going in the ring, you guys need to be on the north side so we don't violate their rules for the event center here. Thank you.
Mr. Oshner, can you give me a sign when all 12 heifers are here, please? The go sign.
have them come in the ring yet. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 Colorado State Fair. I'm going to turn things over to Dawn Thorne here for just a moment, the Colorado FFA Foundation Executive Director. Dawn?
All right. Well, welcome everybody. First of all, we want to thank the Colorado State Fair for hosting this show and allowing us to have it even in these crazy times and making sure that this show would be a part of the Colorado State Fair. So thanks to Scott Stoller, GM, and Robin Toft and everyone, the Board of Commissioners and everyone that's allowed this to happen. We really appreciate that and the hard work that's been gone through to make sure that we can still make this show the culmination of this project for these students and their animals and the families and the sponsors. So I say welcome to everybody. We're glad you're here and glad you get to be a part of it. We're going to do the pledge and we'll do the national anthem and then turn this over. Caleb Wirtz, our state FFA president, will be your master of ceremonies and will be hosting and giving some information along the way, and I'll interject a few things. Normally we have our sponsors here with us today that help provide the finances to that, so we say thank you to our sponsors that are watching online, or our state officers around the ring are hosting our sponsors because they were, due to numbers, were unable to be here. But so each one of our state officers is partnered with a sponsor right now and watching on FaceTime or Zoom or one way to give that personal touch as well. So with that, Brian, I think it's time to honor our country.
Thanks a lot, Dawn. I appreciate it. Would everyone please rise, remove cover, and let's pay tribute to this nation in which we live, and especially honor those men and women around the globe that are fighting for freedom at this very moment. We're going to start with the national anthem and then go to, or excuse me, the Pledge of Allegiance, then the national anthem. My apologies. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the national anthem, sung by Miss Leanne Rhymes.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And against red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So as we get started, we certainly want to thank all the ring help. We want to thank the superintendents here at the State Fair, Kenny and Teresa Burns, longtime supporters, and everyone else that's helping get this pulled together. And when I was thanking Scott Stoller and Robin, we certainly want to thank their boss, Commissioner of Agriculture Kate Greenberg as well. Thank you. All right, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Caleb Wirtz, State FFA President, your MC for the show.
All righty, good afternoon. I'm Caleb Wirtz, the Colorado FFA Association President. Welcome to the Colorado State Fair FFA Heifer Wrangle Show. The Heifer Wrangle program is designed for freshmen and sophomore FFA members and agricultural education students that have an interest in the beef industry. Successful applicants receive a $2,000 grant to purchase a heifer of their choosing, which is why you will see many different breeds, types, and kinds of heifers. The heifers are purchased in the spring, raised, cared for, and exhibited here at the Colorado State Fair. Grant recipients write monthly letters to their donor during the course of the project. On behalf of the Colorado FFA officer team, I welcome you to our show. Members will exhibit their animals and be evaluated for showmanship and their heifer's conformation, structure, and quality. The exhibitors have been divided into two classes by the age of the animal. In those classes, the animals will be chosen for the state fair placings and premiums. After both of those classes, all of the exhibitors and their heifers will be brought back together in the ring and placed to determine the live placing score for purposes of the Heifer Wrangle program. At the same time, the judge will be evaluating the exhibitors for showmanship. The showmanship and live placing scores for these two classes will be combined to determine a winner for the Colorado State Fair. Grand and Reserve Champion winners will receive buckles sponsored by Kenny and Teresa Burns and the Colorado State Fair. This program is a special project of the Colorado FFA and administered by the Fairs and Shows Committee. Ag teachers from across the state volunteer their time to serve on this committee, and they are Marl Howell from Branson, Randy McKendry from Springfield, Samantha Reese from Wiley, Andrew Williams from Lamar, Ethan Beeman from Rye, Patty Coed from Platte Valley, and Shannon Bailey from Windsor. It is my pleasure to introduce our exhibitors and their generous donors who helped make this experience possible for our youth in agriculture. They are, not all of them will be entering at the exact same time, but they are Chelsea Brizendine, sponsored by Alpha Gamma Rho Fraternity and Sigma Alpha Sorority, represented by Salvetti Diascoli. Paige Collins, who is sponsored by Colorado Elks Association and represented by Tom McKibben, also sponsored by Jeanette and Wayne Rogers and Jim Larson. Haley Ebright, sponsored by Bank of Colorado and represented by Clayt Cooper. Trenton Fletcher, sponsored by Colorado Elks Association and represented by Kenny Burns. Reese Harvey, sponsored by Alpha Gamma Rho Fraternity and Sigma Alpha Sorority and represented by Salvetti Diascoli. Rylan Herrera, sponsored by Dale McCall. D.C. Huff, sponsored by Alpha Gamma Rho Fraternity and Sigma Alpha Sorority and represented by Salvetti Diascoli. Avery Kimball, sponsored by the Betcher Foundation and represented by Leslie Baldwin. Haley Larson, sponsored by Colorado Farm Bureau and represented by Sean Martini. Caden Mays, sponsored by Tom Lepetsky. Abigail Provost, sponsored by Triple R Farms and represented by Brett and Rock Rutledge. Wyatt Sandell, sponsored by American Ag Credit and represented by Catherine Sukup, and also sponsored by Denver Ag and Livestock Club and represented by Ben Duke. And last, Faith Vernier, sponsored by John Norwood. Our judge for today is Kendall Reitzenstein, originally from Kersey, Colorado. She grew up raising and showing cattle and pigs. She went to junior college at Redlands Community College, where she competed at the national champion judging team. She continued on to Oklahoma State University and competed on the judging team there. She completed her master's at OSU and assisted the judging team to 2 national champion wins. Currently, she is the Colorado State University livestock judging team coach and works for Breeders' World Online Sales. Thank you, Kendall, for being here and sharing your expertise. Currently, Kendall is placing her first class and will shortly be looking at this second class.
Well, good afternoon. It's certainly a pleasure to be here. And what a neat opportunity to work through these kids, and an excellent program for these kids to grow up and have the privilege to do this and get involved within the cattle industry. And I think no matter how you guys do today or where you stand in class, be thankful for the opportunity. Make sure to thank everyone who helped get you here and provide the donation for you to exhibit and raise these cattle. Out here in our first class, I think to me there's a heifer that hit me pretty hard when she came in. This one is so good from the side in terms of her balance, her femininity, the way her necktie is in the top of her shoulder, and yet she's so good down her top line and square from hooks to pins, really maternal and soft in terms of her body shape from her full rib back into her flank. Then you set her in motion. She maintains herself. She collects herself down her top line. She's good out of her hip and hind leg. Just a really nice female to win this first class. Between second and third, I guess to me that's where your challenge or your decision lies. I guess the heifer in second to me just has more to her in terms of boldness, the center body shape. She's stouter and more dimensional when you get in behind that pair. She's just bolder in terms of her center body, and yet she still maintains herself pretty sound structured when you set her in motion. Just doesn't have quite as much pizzazz or just look from the size, that heifer that beats her today, but a good, moderately made female that has some stoutness and power. Heifer that comes in third, the young lady's done an excellent job with her. Very, very sound structured, very feminine kind of female. Love her refinement about her head, neck, and the way she transitions that back all the way out through her hip. Extremely sound structured when you study her set in motion. You get right in behind her. She's just a bit flatter in terms of her body shape. Doesn't have quite as much just true dimension if you study her out of her hip. But again, a very sound, functional kind of female for that young lady. The black and white heifer that comes next, no doubt, I do think she has more power, more dimension than the heifer that precedes her in terms of her body and out through her hip. Just need to set her down a bit more comfortably out of her rear skeleton as you study her as she goes away. Heifer that comes next, very moderate in terms of her kind. She too has got some power and some dimension, maybe just a bit plainer in terms of her head, neck, and chest. She too just doesn't reach and go with quite as much flexibility or comfort out of her rear skeleton, but one you like in terms of her moderation and her extra substance. The red heifer that comes next, young man, you've got a heifer from the side who's extremely well balanced. She's good down her top line and square from hooks to pins. Just with her extra size, I wish there was more to her. She doesn't have quite as much body shape, or she's just too flat when you get in behind her. But one from the side who's extremely good balanced and good looking. Heifer that comes next, again, very moderate, pretty long and extended, feminine necked, really long down her top line and square out of her hip. She just doesn't have quite as much to her in terms of her body. She too needs fixed off either ends in terms of her skeleton. Then we round out the class on, again, a very moderately made female, very long and extended, just gives up too much in terms of true performance, but an excellent way to start off this show this afternoon. Ringside, please put your hands together for all these exhibitors.
All right, keep in mind, the live placing is a small portion of the entire project, and so we're just working on one portion right here. And so in that class, our class winner was Avery Kimball from Montrose.
As he stopped everything, I think he got spooked by the speaker. I don't know. And it's not you, they're hissing.
All right, we'll resume the results here and try not to spook this calf, getting used to being in the show ring here. First place in that first class, again, this is one portion of the program. Avery Kimball from Montrose. Second, Haley Larson from Trinidad. Third, Caden Mays from Los Animas. Fourth, Haley Ebright, McClave, or Hasty and McClave FFA. Faith Vernier from Branson was fifth. Rylan Herrera, sixth. Wyatt Sandell from Sedalia, seventh. And Reese Harvey from Lamar, eighth. Again, that's one class. We're going to base these on age and then bring them all in, and they'll be evaluated all together as well as part of the total Heifer Wrangle program scoring system.
Alrighty, I'd like to introduce just a couple of the fellow state officers here. The Vice President is Tyson Schneider, and our Secretary is Shelby Tweeton. Go ahead and give us a wave, guys. That way people know where you're at. That's Tyson over here on the left side of the ring. And Shelby is way at the end on the right side. Your state treasurer is Maverick Lighty. Looks like he's right on the right side of the ring as well. We got your reporter, Kendall Powell. And she's down at the very end next to, well, right next to the outgate there. Your state sentinel is Bailey Iacovetto. And she is closer to the table here on the right side of the ring. And finally here are executive committee members. You've got Haley Reed, which I believe is down right by the outgate. We've got Ashlyn Gillis over on the left side of the ring. Jillian Owens, which is down by the outgate as well. And Torin Farquharson, which is down on the left side of the ring.
Tyler's getting new ink out of that little place down by the old strip mall. Somebody's gonna get drunk, somebody's gonna get lucky. Tomorrow there's gonna be talk, but it'll be alright. It's just another night in the middle of America. We're letting our freedom ring.
Another good class out here of heifers. heifers, and a pair that comes to the top. I guess to me, between them, the heifer that wins just hits me as a cow. I think this is a fundamentally correct kind of female that's very, very good and just soft and maternal in terms of her body shape. Really like the sweep from her midrib back into her flank, and yet you get to compare her to the one in second. I think she's quite a bit more feminine, refined about her head and neck. She's quite a bit just stronger down her top line and squarer from hooks to pins at the standstill. Now when you set her in motion, I would like to lengthen her out of her hip and set her down just a bit more comfortably out of her rear leg. I do think that's where the advantage goes to the heifer in second. Heifer in second's got a huge foot underneath of her. Really like her hip and hind leg structure, especially when she's set into motion. Certainly long and extended and pretty balanced from the side if you study her. You know, you get to comparing her though. She just doesn't have quite as much body shape, lower body shape, especially as that heifer that precedes her, and just a bit plainer fronted in through her throat and down into her chest. But a heifer, young lady, you've got a really nice heifer just in terms of her bone, her extra foot size and shape and structural correctness. The Charolais-looking heifer that comes in third, young man, you've got one from the side, extremely fresh, extremely feminine, refined, very good and level and balanced in terms of her lines. Again, she's just a bit frailer in terms of her kind and make. She's narrow if you get right in front of her and steady her out of her hip as well. But a heifer from the side, you like her femininity, her extra length and extension. And then the heifer that closes out the class today, very good just in terms of length and extension. She's got some substance of bone and feature under her as well. Just gives up too much in terms of just performance, a body shape, and extra mass and power. But a very nice class. Again, please put your hands together for all the work they've put in.
Was the summer before the real world started, and the deal was we would get to go if we cleaned it up and got it running. That is old Winnebago.
Alrighty, let's give some kudos to these sponsors and participants here. We've got Chelsea Brizendine, sponsored by the Alpha Gamma Rho Fraternity and Sigma Alpha Sorority, and represented by Salvetti Diascoli. We've got Paige Collins, sponsored by Colorado Elks Association, and represented by Tom McKibben, and also sponsored by Jeanette and Wayne Rogers, and Jim Larson. We've got Haley Ebright, sponsored by Bank of Colorado, and represented by Clayt Cooper. Trenton Fletcher is sponsored by Colorado Elks Association, and represented by Kenny Burns. Reese Harvey is sponsored by sponsored by Alpha Gamma Rho Fraternity and Sigma Alpha Sorority, and represented by Salvetti Diascoli. Rylan Herrera is sponsored by Dale McCall. DC Huff is sponsored by Alpha Gamma Rho Fraternity and Sigma Alpha Sorority, and represented by Salvetti Diascoli. Avery Kimball is sponsored by the Betcher Foundation and represented by Leslie Baldwin. Haley Larson is sponsored by Colorado Farm Bureau and represented by Sean Martini.
All right, we're going to get a live placing from that last class, so give some results out to you. First place, Abigail Provost from La Junta. Second, Chelsea Brizendine from Walsh. Third, DC Huff from La Junta. And fourth was Trenton Fletcher from Olathe. Now we're lining them all up and seeing what they all look like together and seeing how, and let Ms. Reitzenstein sort them this way. And then she's also going to do some showmanship evaluation. So plenty more to go.
The last of these participants and sponsors is Caden Mays, sponsored by Tom Lepetsky, Abigail Provost, sponsored by Triple R Farms, and represented by Brett and Rock Rutledge, Wyatt Sandell, sponsored by American Ag Credit, represented by Catherine Sukup, and also sponsored by Denver Ag and Livestock Club, represented by Ben Duke. And last, Faith Vernier is sponsored by John Norwood. Thank you, sponsors. Without you, this would not be able to happen.
Don't worry about the damage done. Just let those words roll off your tongue. Even if you're lying, if you really don't mean it, I don't care. If you need a little buzz to get you there, then baby, I'm buying. Well, couldn't you say you do, say you might, for tonight to have a heart and the truth, even if you don't? Couldn't you mess me up, get in my head, steal my t-shirt, wreck my bed all night long like you used to, even if you don't? Couldn't you say you do? Yeah, baby, I'm begging you to lead me on. Say it feels good to be back in my arms. And then don't call me. I don't mind a little smoke getting in my eyes. Baby, take your hands, take your lies, and lay 'em on me. Well, couldn't you say you do, say you might, for tonight have a heart, bend the truth, even if you don't? Couldn't you mess me up, get in my head, steal my t-shirt, wreck my bed all night long like you used to, even if you don't? Couldn't you say you do? Well, don't worry about the damage done. Just let those words roll off your tongue. Even if you're lying, well, couldn't you say you do, say you might, for tonight have a heart, bend the truth, even if you don't? Couldn't you mess me up, get in my head, steal my t-shirt, wreck my bed all night long like you used to, even if you don't? Couldn't you say you do? Yeah.
Again today, we just really want to thank our judge, Kendall Reitzenstein. She was originally from Kersey, Colorado. She grew up raising and showing cattle and pigs. She went to junior college at Redlands Community College, where she competed on the national champion judging team. She continued on to Oklahoma State University and competed on the judging team there. She completed her master's at OSU and assisted the judging team to 2 national champion wins. Currently, she is the Colorado State University Livestock Judging Team coach and works for Breeders' World Online Sales. She's also a former FFA member from Platte Valley here in Colorado. Thank you, and we appreciate your help out here today.
Country song, how in the world did it go so wrong? Like all we're good for is looking good for you and your friends on the weekend, nothing more. We used to get a little respect, now we're lucky if we even get to climb up in your truck, keep our mouths shut and ride along, and be the girl in a country song. Well, shaking my money maker ain't never made me a dime, and there ain't no sugar for you in this shaker of mine. Tell me one more time, you gotta get you some of that. Sure, I'll slide on over, but you're gonna get slapped. Ha. These days it ain't easy being that girl in a country song. How in the world did it go so wrong? Like all we're good for is looking good for you and your friends on the weekend, nothing more. We used to get a little respect, now we're lucky if we even get to climb up in your truck, keep our mouths shut and ride along, and be the girl in a country song. Oh no, Conway and George Strait never did it this way back in the old days. Oh, yo, we ain't a cliche, that ain't no way to treat a lady like a girl in a country song. How in the world did it go so wrong? Like all we're good for is looking good for you and your friends on the weekend, nothing more. We used to get a little respect, now we're lucky if we even get to climb up in your truck, keep our mouths shut and ride along, down some old dirt road we don't even wanna be on, and be the girl in a country song.
We get all these heifers out here amongst their ages and compare them to each other. This is what makes judging fun, is comparing the differences. And I think out here we certainly have different types, kinds, and ages and colors, and where these kids want to take them down the road. But to me, I think this younger heifer that came out of our first class wins to me fairly handily. This one is so good from the side in terms of her proportion. She's so good down her top line and square out of her hip, and yet she's maternal. She's soft in terms of her body shape. She's sound structured off either end of her skeleton, and yet still very fresh, feminine, and refined in terms of her kind. Just a very nice female to win this particular class. From there on, I guess it just depends on where you want to lay your priorities and give up in an area or two. To me, the heifer in second has the most, just in terms of true dimension. You get in behind the cattle, she's the most true in terms of her body shape, her boldness of center body, her stoutness and power out through her hip. And yet you study her in motion, though she's not perfect, I still think she reaches and strides plenty fundamentally correct off either end of her skeleton. Again, she's carrying just a bit more shoulder, she's a bit plainer about her head, and just doesn't have quite as much pizzazz or body shape as that heifer that beats her today. But that's a good kind of female that's moderate in terms of her kind, has some substance and power to go with it. Heifer that comes in third today, this one hits you ultra cowy. She's maternal and soft in terms of her body shape. She's soft in terms of her forerib, back into her midrib and flank. Again, I think she's fairly sound structured off either end of her skeleton. You study her from the side, she's just a bit plainer. She's plainer and shorter out of her hip. She doesn't want to just set down quite as comfortably out of her hip from her pin set to hawk to pastern, and quite as stylish out of her hip as well. But one who's just fundamentally correct in terms of her body shape while still being very feminine and refined. The brockle-headed female that comes next, very, very feminine. Love her head shape, love her neck, love her chest. Very fresh in terms of her kind, long and level down her top and square out of her hip. To me, she just gives up too much. She's a bit frailer in terms of her bone and substance, doesn't have quite as much just power or genuine dimension when you get in behind her or study her in terms of her body shape, but that's a very sound structured female that's fresh and feminine in terms of her kind. Heifer that comes next, really like the foot size, the extra substance of bone and feature in this female, like we said in class. Really like her hip and hind leg structure as she reaches and strides. Again, very long and extended from the profile. She's a bit plainer in terms of her head, plainer in terms of her throat and down into her chest. Just doesn't have quite as much true, genuine cow power if you study her in terms of her body shape or out from behind, but one you like in terms of her bone, her extra substance, and her hip and hind leg structure. The black and white heifer that comes next, no doubt, this is a moderately made female that might have as much just power and true dimension as any when you get in behind the cattle. She just needs to be looser and freer out of her rear skeleton. She's a bit straighter in the angle to her shoulder and front knee as well, but a heifer who you like in terms of her extra power. Same goes for the heifer that comes next. Very moderate in terms of her kind. She too has some power and some dimension when you get on top of her and study her out of her hip. She just needs to reach and stride with quite a bit more comfort off either end of her skeleton, but one you like in terms of her moderation. Again, like we said about this red heifer, love her look and her presence from the side. Young man's done an excellent job of getting her presented. She's strong down her top line and square out of her hip. With her extra performance, she just needs more to her in terms of her body shape. Same goes for the Charolais heifer comes next. Extremely good from the side in terms of length of neck, smoothness of shoulder, being strong down her top and square out of her hip. Just needs more body shape and more genuine power and dimension coming and going. Heifer that comes next, very moderate in terms of her kind, pretty long and extended. Again, just needs some more body shape with it. Heifer that comes next, again, has some substance of feature, bone, and just true dimension from the side. You get in behind her though, and that kind of goes away. She's just a bit flatter in terms of her body, doesn't have quite as much depth and softness. And then we round out the class on a brockle-headed or a baldy heifer that's long and extended, just too uncoordinated out of her rear skeleton. But an awesome class, really fun to evaluate these kids and their projects and all the time they've put in. Please put your hands together for all those exhibitors.
All right, the results, we'll list the top 5 results here from that class, from the live placing. We're going to work through a little bit of showmanship here, I think, as part of the program as well. Again, several layers to this program overall. First place, Avery Kimbo, Montrose. Second was Haley Larson, Trinidad. Third, Abigail Provost, Lahana. Fourth, Haley Ebright from Hasty, and fifth was Chelsea Brizendine from Walsh, and congratulations to all the rest that were participating in there. Thank you.
Kill the headlights so we wouldn't get caught.
So as we said before, this is one portion. So here at the State Fair, we calculate live placing and showmanship together to see who the State Fair champion is. But then this program continues on, and the students will put together a scrapbook and an exit interview and demonstrate knowledge of the project. So their placing here, their showmanship, and other things, and communication pieces that go to their sponsor all become part of it. And the program itself will finish in June at the State FFA Convention. But we will pick a Colorado State Fair champion here shortly after this showmanship. We'll tabulate scores and then have results there too. So the results just keep coming. Exhibitors, do not leave the show area or the event center after your the showmanship. We want to know how the final results are, but you can start lining up to take pictures while we're working on tabulations after Kendall talks the showmanship. So just line up. We want the student, the parent, the ag teacher, and then we're going to throw a couple of state officers in the picture as well. So after the showmanship, please be making your way over there. We'll just do an orderly pictures over there by the backdrop.
Girl, take a look around. Yeah, it's going down. It's going down just right. Hey, baby, for the night, it's any old earl. Lean your pretty self over here a little closer. I need to hold you. I want to show you what you don't want to miss. No, it's all getting to what we've been waiting on. I'm gonna go and turn you with the night on. Coming on strong, I'm gonna lay it on your lips. Might wanna close your eyes for this. Sun gone down, nights are getting hotter. We got this bed backed up to the water. Yeah, it's the place to be if you wanna see every little shining star. But that view ain't nothing like the view I'm looking at. 210 legs for days dangling off the back. It all looks better, baby, you can see forever when you're here in my arms. Hey, baby, for the night, it's any older. Lean your pretty self over here a little closer. I need to hold you. I want to show you what you don't want to miss. No, it's all getting to what we've been waiting on. I'm gonna go and turn you with the night on. Coming on strong, I'm gonna lay it on your lips. Might wanna close your eyes for this. And just when you thought you'd really seen it all, well, it turns out you don't have to see it all. Hey, baby, for the night gets any older. Lean your pretty self over here a little closer. I need to hold you. I want to show you what you don't want to miss. No, it's all getting to what we've been waiting on. I'm gonna go and turn you with the night on. Coming on strong, I'm gonna lay it on your lips. Might want to close your eyes for this. Might want to close your eyes for this. Hey, pretty girl, might want to close your eyes for this. Close your eyes for this.
Every time I fall, I get back up again. Cinch my saddle up and find me another wind. Let it take me where it wants to go. Another one-horse town, another damned old rodeo. I know this life is crazy, but I'll be home soon, baby. I'll ride in on a sunny day, sing you a song, steer your heart away like a cowboy. tucked inside my old hat. It brings me love, I need a bunch of that. This midnight winding road runs through my blood. I can't give it up like I said I would. I know it's hard on you, but like I always do, I'll ride in on a sunny day, sing you a song, steal your heart away like a cowboy. Hang my head like I'm here for a while, kick off my boots, drive you wild like a cowboy. Well, baby, you know I can't stay long. You wake up, I'll be gone. Until then, I'll hold on like a cowboy. I'll ride in on a sunny day, sing you a song, steal your heart away like a cowboy. Hang my head like I'm here for a while, kick off my boots and drive you wild like a cowboy. Like a cowboy. Like a cowboy. Like a cowboy. Every time I fall, I get back up again. Cinch my saddle up and find me another way.
Been a year, bad hair days and check engine lights. Spilled a lot of coffee cups and spent a lot of time crying. I watch too much TV and it just makes me sad. I wish I didn't want the things that I don't have. I'm so overdue for a little bit too good to be true, for a ticket to a life with a better view. I'm tired of waiting for the winds to change and catch my breath, for a love that rewinds all the rest and takes and makes a heart like mine brand new. I'm so overdue for someone like you. I put the same old band-aids on the same stupid scars. I'm good at getting nowhere fast, 'cause I don't know where to start. I've gone a little bit crazy, thinking a little bit too much. But now I'm overthinking, 'cause baby, you finally showed up. I'm so overdue for a little bit of too good to be true, for a ticket to a life with a better view. be true. For a ticket to life with a better view. I'm tired of waiting for the winds to change and catch my breath. For a love that rewinds all the rest. It takes and makes a heart like mine brand new. I'm so overdue for someone like you.
Plant your roots in it. Dusty headlight dance with your boots in it. You write her name on it, spin your tires on it, build your cornfield whiskey bonfires on it. You bet your life on it. It's that L-shaped red rust clay. You grew up on that plowed up ground that your dad damned his luck on. That post-game party field you circle up on. And when it rains you get stuck on. Trip the clouds back behind county roads that you run up the mud on her jeans that she peeled off and hung up her blue-eyed summertime smile. Looks so good that it hurts. Makes you wanna build a 10% down white picket fence house on this dirt. You mix some sweat with it, taking a shovel to it. You stuck some crosses and some painted gold posts through it. You know you came from it, and someday you'll return to this L-shaped red rust clay. You grew up on that plowed up ground that your dad damned his luck on. That post-game party field you circle up on. And when it rains you get stuck on. Trip the cloud back behind county roads that you run up the mud on her jeans that she peeled off and hung up her blue-eyed summertime smile. Looks so good that it hurts. Makes you wanna build a 10% down white picket fence house on this dirt. You know you came from it, and someday you'll return to this L-shaped red rust clay. You grew up on that plowed up ground that your dad damned his luck on. That post-game party field you circle up on. And when it rains you get stuck on. Trip the cloud back behind county roads that you run up the mud on a jeep.
An awesome group to work through for showmanship, and I took the time to talk to these kids behind me, just some little things to work on at home. And to me, I think the things that are going to separate, I guess, these two that are still out here, kids at home, just work on walking your cattle into place. I think, you know, the least amount that you have to use your stick, the better. And these two cattle in front of me, and really all top four, did that very well in terms of walking their cattle into place and giving me the best angle and the best view possible. Again, I think eye contact is absolutely necessary in terms of showmanship for me. The first few steps in the ring are probably the most important, and just in terms of grabbing the judge's attention, in terms of your eye contact and your ring presence. Again, I talk through these kids, just some little things to work on at home, but don't get discouraged. I think all you guys have done an excellent job of getting your projects here. I guess between first and second, these two exhibitors are still left out here. Both of them extremely good and competitive in the way they show. They're out here, they want to win, they're fighting to win. Extremely good in terms of eye contact. There's some little differences, I guess, to me that are going to separate them today. Young lady up front, I guess that heifer is just pretty push button for her. She walks into place every single time, gives an outstanding look, presented to a T. Young lady, excellent job in terms of ring presence and eye contact. And then the young man. He too is very competitive natured, very good in terms of ring presence. Every once in a while, he'll get a little worked up, and I know he's fighting out here to win, and he's out here smiling, obviously, but doing an excellent job as well in terms of walking that heifer into place. Those are the differences I see. To me, I'm going to leave them how they stand. Young lady up front will be first. Young man, you'll be second. Please put your hands together for all these showmanship contestants. Excellent job by all of them.
We'll have some showmanship results in just a sec. Certainly want to thank Kendall Reitzenstein for giving us her expertise, sharing her expertise and talents with us today. Thank you, Kendall. We appreciate you being a part of the FFA Heifer Wrangle show. Thank you very much. And again, we said some thank yous earlier. Certainly thank Commissioner of Ag, Kate Greenberg, Scott Stoller, the GM here at the fair, Robin Toft, livestock manager, and everyone, all the superintendents, ring help, people that made this fair come together, even though in this uncertain times we certainly didn't know how that was going to come together or happen. So lots of thanks to go out there, and you certainly hate to forget anybody, but we appreciate that a great deal. We appreciate our sponsors a great deal as well. So we're going to list our showmanship award winners. Exhibitors, now's the time for you to start taking pictures. Do not leave the building, please. Take pictures with your parents, your family, your ag teacher, a couple state officers on each end, and you guys just hang while we work on the final results, and we'll pull some, even if we don't get through all the pictures, we'll go ahead and pull results here in a little bit. So here we go. Showmanship, champion showman was Avery Kimball Montrose. Reserve champion showman was Caden Mays from Los Animas. Third, Faith Vernier Branson. Fourth, Wyatt Sandell Sedalia, and rounding out at fifth was Abigail Provost from La Junta. We thank the fair for allowing us to do this. Kenny Burns and Teresa Burns down here has been with the program for a long, long time, and also help us run it, and also sponsor the buckle, and the Colorado State Fair sponsors one of the buckles as well. And we've got a great committee of ag teachers that volunteer their time to be part of this as well, and Caleb read those names. I'll have Caleb go ahead and read the names of the Fairs and Shows Committee one more time. Thank you. So stay tuned. We'll give you some final results here in a little bit.
Again, we just thank those committee members for volunteering their time. It means a lot to these students, and it helps us kind of get these done, and means a lot. We've got Marl Howell from Branson.
Teresa, can you bring the results back so we can do some tabulating up here, please? Thank you.
Excuse me, yeah. We've got Marl Howell from Branson. We've got Randy McKendry from Springfield, Samantha Reese from Wiley, Andrew Williams from Lamar, Ethan Beeman from Rye, Patty Coed from Platte Valley, and Shannon Bailey from Windsor. Thank you all, and we appreciate your time and all of the dedication that you guys have put toward this great event.
For those of you here ringside or those watching online at livestream.com/barnmedia or at coloradostatefair.com. Don't forget, coming up at 3 o'clock, we've got the National Western Stock Show Catch It Calf show. 3 o'clock. We'll be webcasting that one as well. Of course, these animals will be the ones that will be shown in Denver in January, hopefully, at the stock show. So that's coming up 3 o'clock. And then don't forget, for those of you watching online, you've got to get registered for the online sale tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. Colorado Electric Cooperative's Junior Livestock Sale is at 3:30. You've got to go to liveauctions.tv to get registered to bid. I will have a monitor-only webcast of the sale tomorrow at livestream.com and on the State Fair page, but it'll be monitor only. You won't be able to bid there. So if you want to bid or do add-ons for any of the kids that are in the sale tomorrow afternoon, you've got to get your bidder's number at liveauctions.tv today. I would recommend today. Don't wait till the last minute. You won't be able to watch the sale unless you're a bidder on their website. You'll be able to watch the sale and monitor, but not bid, on livestream.com/barnmedia and at the coloradostatefair.com website. Just want to give you an update on that. That's 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. Colorado Electric Cooperative's Junior Livestock Sale. Get your buyer's number today, liveauctions.tv, if you want to bid or do add-ons, okay? That's all I got. 3 o'clock, National Western Stock Show Catch It Calf Show. Hope you'll join us for that. I have the webcast up about 10 minutes till 3. Right now, we're just waiting on the overall results for the Colorado FFA Heifer Wrangle show.
Somebody's gotta wear a pretty skirt. Somebody's gotta be the one to flirt. Somebody's gotta wanna hold his hand. So God made girls. God made girls. He stood back and told the boys about to rock your world. And God made girls. God made girls. He stood back and told the boys about to rock your world. Then God made somebody's gotta wear a pretty skirt. Somebody's gotta be the God made girls. God made girls. Hug me strong like a burning whiskey. Hug me sweet like Tennessee honey, honey. Pretty as a daisy, careful if you pick me. This wildflower can get a little crazy, baby. If you're running around, you better run from me. You pack up your bags and get gone, get gone. You wreck my heart, I wreck everything and anything I can get my hands on. If you lie, lie, lie with those wandering eyes, better find one hell of a place to hide. If you mess with me, you best believe that you're gonna be asking for trouble.
Okay, let's pause the pictures for just 1 second. We do have the results, and we want to finish that up so we can then finish up our live feed. Again, thank you to Colorado State Fair, everything they've done to make this show happen. Thank you to Kenny and Teresa Burns for sponsoring one of the buckles, and State Fair sponsors the other. So, a little bit of information, FFA members and parents. You can pick up your ribbons over here on the table, okay? Pick up the ribbons from your placings on the table. Make sure you get those for your scrapbook. If you need verification of placing, we can do that. Banners are hanging on the back, and you'll want those for the pictures. So if we'll pause on pictures real quick, Beverly, it is our pleasure to announce the reserve champion when you combine live placing and showmanship is Abigail Provost. So Abigail, congratulations. If you'd like, come on out, take a spin. but you don't have to, but we want to make sure you get your banner and buckle for the picture. If you've already taken a picture, please do it again. Why don't we just, to keep things simple, we'll just keep you hold right there. And then our champion, placing first in show and showmanship, Avery Kimball Montrose. Congratulations, Avery. Yay. All right, thanks to our judge, thanks to everyone that helped in our committee. We really appreciate it. Everyone, make sure you get your picture taken. And again, parents, we will communicate with you a link to get all of these pictures that were taken today by our photographer. Thank you, Beverly, for all your great work. All right, with that, that culminates the 2020 Colorado State Fair FFA Heifer Wrangle Show. Thanks to everybody that came and watched. Appreciate it. You two up there, you killed it. And of course, thanks to Brian Almer, webcasting extraordinaire. Thanks, Brian.